The sound of gunfire still echoed in Ethan Cole's ears, weeks after that October afternoon when everything changed. One moment, he was a security guard at Crestmont Mall, sipping lukewarm coffee near the toy store. The next, he was diving in front of a 6-year-old girl, shielding her from a stray bullet during a failed robbery. The child survived. Ethan didn't walk away so easily. The bullet had torn through his shoulder, damaging nerves and shattering bone. He hadn't even known her name. All he remembered was her terrified scream, and the overwhelming instinct to protect. The hospital stay was long, painful. When he was finally discharged, Ethan returned home to find a letter taped to his apartment door. Termination due to physical incapacity to perform duties. Just like that, 12 years of quiet, loyal work were gone. He tried not to be bitter. He reminded himself, the little girl is alive. That matters most. But in the weeks that followed, as his savings dried up and job applications went unanswered, doubt crept in. Did it even matter? Did anyone care? One gray morning, Ethan sat on a park bench, his injured arm resting stiffly in a sling. He watched a mother help her toddler onto the swings. He smiled despite himself. That's when the black SUV pulled up. Out stepped a woman in an elegant coat, flanked by 2 security guards. Her heels clicked against the pavement as she approached. Ethan stood halfway, unsure, until she stopped in front of him. "Ethan Cole?" she asked. He nodded, squinting. "Yeah." "Do I know you?" "No," she said softly, "but you know my daughter." A pause, then that day, at the mall, Ethan's breath caught. "She's all right. She's more than all right. She's alive, because of you." He smiled faintly, emotion tightening his throat. "That's good. That's all I wanted." The woman glanced at her guards, then sat beside him, ignoring the cold bench. "My name is Harper Langston," she said. "You wouldn't recognize me, but my husband was Senator Langston. He passed away last year." Ethan blinked, unsure what politics had to do with any of this. "I spent years behind gated communities and guarded doors, thinking I could protect my daughter with money and influence. But when danger came, you, a stranger, gave everything without a second thought. I didn't think, I just reacted." "Exactly." She turned to him, eyes glassy with unshed tears. "That kind of selflessness is rare, and I believe in honoring it." Harper gestured, and one of the guards stepped forward, holding a folder. She handed it to Ethan. Inside was a job offer from a national nonprofit that provided security and mentorship to at-risk youth. A role tailored to his strengths, with medical benefits, housing assistance, and dignity. He looked up, stunned. "Why are you doing this?" "Because kindness should never be punished," she said. "And because I want my daughter to grow up in a world where men like you aren't forgotten. They are celebrated." Ethan tried to speak, but his voice broke. So he simply nodded, overwhelmed. Before she left, Harper handed him a drawing. Crayon on paper. A smiling stick. Figure man with a red cape stood next to a little girl with pigtails. "She calls you her hero," Harper whispered. As the SUV pulled away, Ethan sat on the bench, clutching the drawing, the wind cool on his face but his heart warm. He had no uniform now, no badge, but he had something better, purpose, and proof that even the smallest act of courage could echo forever. Kindness doesn't go unnoticed. Sometimes it circles back with guards, secrets, and a second chance. Ethan sits at his small kitchen table, the job offer still spread open beside a half-empty cup of coffee. The edges of the crayon drawing flutter slightly from the breeze, slipping through the cracked window. He runs a finger slowly over the words on the contract, still afraid it might vanish if he blinks too long. His phone buzzes, unknown number. He hesitates, then answers. "Hello." A child's voice, small, uncertain. "Hi. Is this Mr. Ethan?" His breath catches. "Yes, it is. I'm Ellie, you saved me." Silence swells in the room. Ethan leans forward, voice low. "Hey there, Ellie. I'm really glad to hear your voice. My mommy said I could call. I drew you another picture. This time you're flying." Ethan laughs softly, his eyes damp. "Flying, huh? That's new for me. You have wings like an angel." He swallows hard. "Thanks, sweetheart. That means more than you know." Ellie's voice fades a bit as she's pulled away, and then Harper comes on the line. "I hope that was okay." "It was more than okay." Ethan says, "Thank you for everything." "We're not done yet," Harper replies. Tomorrow's just the beginning. The call ends. Ethan stares at the phone, then glances back at the contract. Slowly, he reaches for a pen, but just before he signs, there's a knock at the door. Not a loud one. Gentle, uncertain. He opens it to find a young man in a hoodie, maybe 18, holding a folded flyer for the same nonprofit. "Hey," the kid mumbles, "they said I could find Ethan Cole here." Ethan steps aside. "Yeah, come on in." The door closes behind them. In a world where kindness can feel like a whisper, Ethan's is about to become something louder, something bigger, and it's only just beginning. Ethan watches the young man step inside, eyes darting around the modest apartment like he's unsure whether to sit or bolt. He can tell the kid's been through something. Maybe still is. The same look he'd seen in the mirror weeks ago. "You hungry?" Ethan asks. The teen shrugs. "Had a Snickers earlier." Ethan nods toward the stove. "I've got some chili left. Not fancy, but it's hot." The kid hesitates, then gives a small nod. "Yeah, okay." As Ethan ladles the chili into a bowl, he glances over his shoulder. "What's your name?" "Jaden." "Nice to meet you, Jaden." He hands over the bowl. "So, what brought you here?" Jaden picks at the edge of his hoodie sleeve. "They said you help guys like me, guys who messed up, or got nowhere else to go." Ethan sits across from him, folding his arms on the table. "I'm not a miracle worker, but I've been at rock bottom too, and I've learned something. Rock bottom is solid ground to build on." Jaden looks up slowly, the walls around him beginning to crack. "You really got shot for a kid you didn't even know?" he asks. "I didn't have time to think," Ethan says. "I just moved." Jaden's quiet for a beat. "That's crazy." Ethan smiles. "Yeah, but sometimes doing the right thing feels a little crazy." Jaden finishes the chili. Ethan stands and grabs the nonprofit folder from the counter. "You ready to find your second chance?" Jaden gives a small nod. "Yeah, I think I am." The two of them walk out into the night, side by side. The street lamps cast long shadows, but they walk steadily forward. As they round the corner, Harper watches from her SUV parked nearby. Her daughter, Ellie, asleep in the back seat, clutching a stuffed bear. Harper smiles softly and turns to her driver. "Let's go." Because kindness, real kindness, isn't just a moment, it's a ripple, a chain reaction. And Ethan Cole, once broken and forgotten, had become something far greater than a hero. He'd become a light, quiet, steady, and impossible to ignore. And in a world that often forgets to look out for each other, he reminded everyone just how much one act of courage can change everything. Kindness message. Kindness doesn't always make headlines, but it always makes a difference. One quiet act of compassion can ripple outward, touching lives in ways we may never see. In a world that often rushes past pain and struggle, choosing to care, to reach out, to protect, to help is a radical and powerful thing. Never underestimate the value of your empathy, because sometimes saving one life is the beginning of saving many. Be the reason someone still believes in humanity.